Now the main event. I'm honored to introduce the 54th Governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey. Hold on. We're gonna say lots of nice things about the governor. Kay Ivey has been one of the most consequential Alabama governors. She took office in April 2017, and by the end of her tenure in January 2027, will have held the office for the longest consecutive term in history. Because we at PARCA are nerds and we like statistics, let me share some metrics on Governor Ivey's time in office. In 2017, the state's unemployment rate was 5%. Today it is 3.3%. Alabama's national ranking in fourth grade reading improved from 49th in 2019 to 34th in 2024. Alabama's national ranking in fourth grade math improved from 52nd, I didn't even know there were 52, in 2019 to 32nd in 2024. And as specifically relates to today's topic of mental health, a top priority of Governor Ivey's administration has been improving mental health services across the state. In 2019, she launched the Alabama Mental Health Improvement Initiative, expanding treatment centers, building new facilities, and increasing mobile crisis units. She has also championed telemedicine and mental health, improving access to care, particularly in rural communities. Under her leadership, Alabama has significantly reduced its waiting list for inpatient psychiatric care. She has also prioritized training first responders to handle mental health crises effectively, ensuring better outcomes for those in need. Governor Ivey has been a strong advocate for PARCA. Today marks her 8th appearance as the keynote speaker at PARCA's Annual Forum, and I know she joins us all in supporting PARCA's goal: decisions based on facts, not rhetoric, and sound public policy for the benefit of all. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Alabama's 54th Governor, Kay Ivey.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you, JT, for your very kind introduction. And y'all, once again, I am honored to join this great gathering of community leaders and partners at the annual Governor Albert P. Brewer Legacy Lunch. The Public Affairs Research Council brings many viewpoints together to address the challenges that we all face in our state. Many viewpoints can be helpful as we share the goal of keeping Alabama the best place to live, work, and raise a family. The focus on this year's forum is on the issue of mental health care in Alabama. The promotion of good mental health in our state goes back nearly 165 years to the opening of Bryce Hospital in Tuscaloosa. A little over a century later, my mentor, Governor Lurleen Wallace, walked through the halls of Bryce and returned to Montgomery with a mission. She advocated for, and the legislature approved, historic investments in mental health care. Fast forward to just a few years ago, and Alabama has again made generational investments in mental health care. With the help of Speaker Ledbetter, Chairman Reynolds, and the legislature, Alabama is devoting more resources to mental health care service delivery, including launching a growing network of community-based response centers across our state. Just last month, I participated in the ribbon cutting of the 6th such facility, which adds Dothan and the Wiregrass to the list of regions now served, including Huntsville, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, and Mobile. Commissioner Kim Boswell is leading this united effort, working with many partners to provide crisis care services for individuals with mental health conditions and substance abuse disorders. And I want to commend Commissioner Boswell for her leadership in administering this vital new program and overseeing the important services of the Alabama Department of Mental Health. Also last month, I noted in my State of the State address the threats to our children's mental health due to their growing attractions and attention to so-called smart devices. Studies show that teens are spending on average 5 hours a day on social media, and it's having a negative impact on their well-being. Over 70% of teachers nationally report that cell phones are distracting students, and such interruptions also adversely affect learning. This problem is not limited to Alabama, but we can and must do more to protect our young people from online threats and distractions. On the first day of the new legislative session, the Focus Act was introduced in the State House and Senate to stem the negative influence of cell phones among students in Alabama's classroom and elsewhere. Many schools in our state have already taken action, and we want to expand these measures statewide. The Focus Act prohibits cell phone use in classrooms while also calling on schools to offer students instruction on safe social media use so they are better protected whenever and wherever they are online. The Focus Act awaits votes in the House and the Senate, and I look forward to having it on my desk soon. Speaking of preparing our students to survive and thrive, Alabama's continued investments in education, including efforts to raise academic achievement at elementary levels, are paying off. As you may remember, the recently passed Numeracy and Literacy Acts directed more resources and instruction, including reading and math coaches, into classrooms to enhance student skills. After just a few years of implementation, even officials outside Alabama are beginning to take notice of our results. The new National Assessment of Educational Progress, known as the nation's public school report card, was released in January. Our state's fourth graders led the nation in improvements in math learning, and we came in second in the nation in demonstrating progress in reading. As PARCA's own review of the report card pointed out, quote, in both reading and math, Alabama fourth graders scored close to the national average in 2024. A remarkable turnaround since 2019, when Alabama fourth graders ranked near the bottom nationally. We've also focused resources on our lowest performing schools across the state to bring up their scores and skills to the point that they are now outpacing the average performance rate at other schools. For sure, we're just getting started and have more work to do, especially among older elementary age students, but the results are encouraging. Collectively, we are moving the needle in education. When I took office, Alabama ranked 49th in the nation in reading. Today, we're at 34. And in math, Alabama ranked dead last at 52. Today, we're 32. To have greater success in the classroom, we must also recruit the best teachers. Alabama is home to many fine colleges that offer teaching degrees, but it does us no good if education graduates leave our state for a better offer elsewhere. So I'm also proud to note that during my administration, we have increased starting teachers' salaries to among the highest in the Southeast. We are also focusing attention on another long overdue benefit for younger teachers, parental leave. The Parental Leave Act introduced this session applies to both school teachers and other state workers. It will finally put Alabama on par with many other states in affording time off to care for a newborn or an adopted child. More broadly, the goal of achieving a better environment for children and all Alabamians cannot be realized without proper attention to public safety. Public safety is my top priority this legislative session, and I'm pleased to see that PARCA is also devoting attention to this issue. Working with Speaker Ledbetter and a bipartisan group of legislators, we are advancing a package of bills this session aimed at reducing violent crimes in our cities while providing law enforcement with the tools and support they need to more safely perform their duties. A ban on Glock switches that criminals use to effectively convert semi-automatic firearms into automatic guns, similar in performance to machine guns. That bill has passed both chambers. It now heads back to the Senate for final concurrence, and I sure look forward to signing that bill into law. While there's already a federal ban on Glock switches, Alabama law enforcement are unable to charge offenders who possess them due to the lack of a state law. Another public safety priority this session is continued support for the Metro Area Crime Suppression Unit known as MAX. Partnerships to proactively police our states can make a real difference in reducing crime and restoring safe communities. After less than a year of operation, the MAX Crime Fighting Partnership between federal, state, and local law enforcement partners has already yielded significant results in reducing violent crime in Montgomery neighborhoods, taking many violent offenders off our streets. This session, we are calling for more funding for the MAX program to ensure that law enforcement in our capital city maintain their heightened crime-fighting efforts on a 24/7 basis. Law enforcement would also benefit from other legislation this session to increase legal protections for the official performance of their duties without fear of Monday morning quarterbacking in the courts. Alabama only advances when we all have an opportunity to prosper. As I enter into my 8th year as your governor, I am proud to point to our continued record of economic success in business investment and job creation. In 2017, Alabama has seen $55 billion with a B dollars in capital investment and the creation of 93,000 jobs and counting. Even with record jobs and investment, Alabama continues to see a substantial number of our able-bodied population sitting on the sidelines and not working. We're tackling that challenge too. With the legislature's support, we have launched the new Alabama Department of Workforce to actively engage our state's non-workers and get them in line for a good job. Economic opportunity must be shared with Alabama's rural areas. And broadband has been called the great equalizer. Broadband availability can enable rural communities to compete with big cities in access to new business, education, telehealth, and other opportunities. Back in 2017, when I first took office, Alabama was also near the bottom position among the 50 states in broadband readiness. Folks, we were at 47th. So we rolled out a strategy to reverse course and channel state funds for major broadband expansion across our state. Today, hundreds of millions of state and federal dollars have been directed to broadband rollout projects from border to border. The result, Alabama is now 24th in broadband readiness, and according to a recent national study, quote, we're a model for state initiative and success in broadband policy. From virtual highways to old-fashioned asphalt, folks who drive around Birmingham are keenly aware that the foundation of Alabama's future is also laid upon maintaining a first-class system of roads and bridges. Back in 2019, we reached a similar conclusion as we did with our broadband and education systems that generational investments in our transportation system were needed for Alabama to be competitive with other states. The Rebuild Alabama Act has been on the books for nearly 6 years and has already generated close to $1 billion with a B dollars in new state revenue for Alabama's road and bridge program. And thanks to Rebuild Alabama alone, over 500 road and bridge projects have been undertaken, reaching all 67 counties. Just over in Shelby County, in fact, is one of the biggest road projects, the 6-lane widening of I-65 from Pelham to Alabasta. In August of 2023, I announced a project to extend the 6-lane section from Alabasta down to Calera. Bids have been taken and construction should begin this spring. It will involve the longest stretch of I-65 ever widened during a single project. And with 8 bridges, it will also be the most expensive at over $300 million. More significantly, this project will provide the biggest improvement to traffic flow in what is currently the highest volume portion of 4-lane interstate within the state of Alabama. To sum it up, since Rebuild Alabama was signed into law, we've done more to improve Alabama's interstates, state, and U.S. highways and local roads and bridges than during any other time in Alabama's history, and that progress will continue. And folks, there's no doubt that the work to assure all Alabamians can live their best lives through a quality education system, safer communities, and access to abundant job opportunities never stops. My administration is committed to growing our record of accomplishments by working as a team with all our partners in government, business, and public service. I appreciate you allowing me to share Alabama's goals and results with you today. The people of Alabama deserve our very best. Future generations of Alabamians deserve our hardest work today. So let's keep pushing forward. May God continue to bless each of you and the great state of Alabama.